Hey ladies. So today I am going over personal development and some of my takeaways from the book that I've been reading that can hopefully help you as well. So a big chapter of this book is called A Guide to Overcoming Your Fears. So I'm still reading You're Made for a God-Sized Dream, which is probably my favorite book so far that I've read. It's by Holly Girth. So this chapter is about overcoming your fear. And I think that's big for all of us. I think all of us have our own setbacks. We have our own fears we get in our own heads that sometimes prevent us from moving forward. So I wanted to share some of my takeaways and some of the excerpts from this book with you. So this is one of the quotes from the book. Fear camps out right next to whatever it is you're called most to do. That means the closer you get to your calling, the louder fear sounds. You must be headed in the right direction. Keep going. Fear is a chihuahua that sounds like a Doberman. So I loved that. I highlighted that. So fear camps out right next to what we're called most to do. I think that's just a powerful statement. It says, you will face fear. Fear is a response to a threat. It means there's a risk and something that you value is on the line. If you don't feel that way about your dream, then it's not close enough to God's calling for you. This book is really awesome. So obviously fear is always going to creep up. It's always going to sit right here, camp out right next to you. Something big that you're wanting to do, it's going to be right there. If you didn't want to do something, if you didn't want to pursue this as much as we do, then you're not going to have the fear. It's not going to be your calling. It's not going to be your dream if you're not fearful of something. It's just learning how to overcome these fears, step out of our comfort zone to when great things are going to happen, and figure out how we can just put fear behind us, kick it to the curb, so that we can reach out and talk to people like we are meant to do. Because I think that is one of our biggest fears. I just noticed that kind of looks like I have antlers on my head. One of our biggest fears, I think, is just reaching out to people that, that we're afraid of either hearing no, that we're afraid of, what they may think about us. It's something new to us. It's going out of our comfort zone to reach out to people, to invite them. The connecting sometimes isn't that hard, but to actually get to that point of like, well, do you want to join me? That kind of thing may be a little fearful. So this said, the first step to overcoming fear is to stop avoiding it. You will spend all your time and energy trying to escape fear when you could be using it to pursue your dreams instead. Stop and face the fear. Say, yes, I'm afraid, but fear isn't going to kill me. It's not even going to maim me. So I thought that was pretty awesome too. Like, fear is always going to be there. But you will spend all your time and energy trying to escape when you could be using it to pursue your dreams instead. So instead of sitting there fearful of sending out or connecting to other people, instead of sitting there thinking, well, what if they say no? What if they say, I'm crazy? What if they think I'm trying to sell them something? If we're sitting there just getting in our own way, then we're not going to move forward. Instead, we need to be like, okay, this is maybe a little scary, but I'm going to do it anyway. Life is a risk. There are no guarantees. We also need to ask ourselves, what might I lose if I don't do this? So, now I'm not talking about like fear of bungee jumping, because I don't think anyone should do that. That's just crazy talk right there. But we get in these life situations, and it's with coaching too. Like, ask yourself, what if I don't do this? So what if I don't reach out to her? You know, she may need me, and I'm afraid to, you know, ask her. But what if I don't ask her? You know, so that's kind of like, there was this girl that I had talked to, well, that I was friends with in the past through the Army when we were stationed somewhere, and I hadn't talked to her in a long time. I hadn't even seen anything on her, but I didn't even know she had a baby. So she must not have been seeing my newsfeed. I hadn't seen hers, and so I went to her page one time, realized that she had a baby, and so I reached out to her, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, I didn't even know you had a new baby. Congratulations. How are you feeling? You know, we got to talking, and then I just asked her, or talked to her about a challenge group, I think, and she right away was like, yes, I was wanting to do something. And I had, like, if I hadn't have asked her, then she wouldn't have become, you know, more into my life than she already was. Well, she wasn't so much that at that point anyway. But now, you know, she's in my challenge groups, and then she got her mom and her cousin to join with her. And it's all because I just asked her how she was doing and then asked her to join a challenge group. I overcame that fear. And if I hadn't have, that was 3 people that I helped that month because of one person. So you have to ask yourselves, what if I don't? You know, what if I let this fear hold me back? So there was another, at the end of this chapter, it said, confront one small fear this week. Maybe you've been putting it off, a phone call, avoiding a difficult task, or something else. Face that fear head on. Ask for God's help and get it done. Then celebrate when you do. So there was another part that said, like, I think it said, I think God is control of me, but I control my fear. So I think with Him, we can overcome those fears a lot easier. There was something about, I think in one of our groups, I don't know if it was Jillian's, at one time there was like a tearing up your fears kind of call or post. And I remember participating in that. And this book had the same idea and said to do the same thing. So if you have not done this already, I strongly encourage it. So get a piece of paper, and I want you to write down your fears. What is it that holds you back? What are you afraid of? And let's go coaching, you know. And there may be some other things in your life that they may be holding you back from a lot of things. But write down those fears. I'm afraid of being told no. I'm afraid of reaching out. I'm afraid of putting myself or surrounding myself with people that I don't know. Like, that's a fear of mine, of going to one of my fears is like going to events, or even it could be Super Saturday. Like, to go by myself is a fear. And oftentimes I may withdraw and hold back because I don't know anyone. I'm not good at, like, once you get to know me, and I'm like comfortable, you know, I have a personality, I'll talk, I'll whatever. But to go into a group of people that I don't know, like, I get a shell. And I've been like that since I was like really little. I've always been like that. And I'm not going to say I will always be like that, because I can overcome that fear. But that is one of my fears. So you write down your fears on a piece of paper on one side. And then on the other side, I want you to write down the positive potential to actually overcoming each of those fears. So for example, my fear is being told no. That's on one side. Well, to put on the other side of that, well, but what if they say yes? Or not even maybe what if, you could be like, I'm afraid of being told no. They're going to tell me yes. They're going to say yes. So for every fear that you have, put the positive next to it of what could and will happen if you kick that fear to the curb. Once you get that list, you can either do it on 2 different pieces of paper, or you can split it down the middle and tear off the fear side and then tear that up and throw your fears away. And then keep that positive side, and keep that maybe in your office, in your journal, or something that you can look back to when you start to have that fear creep in. Then you can refer back to that and be like, oh no, because what if they say yes? And they could possibly say yes. They're going to say yes. I'm going to reach out. That could definitely help. So yeah, tear up the fears and kick them to the curb. So that was a big takeaway from that book. So I think I had one more. I was trying to find it here. Okay, so I will come back to that. So yeah, what fears do you have, and how are you going to overcome them? Okay, so we talked about how to face our fears and how to try and overcome those. There was one more takeaway from a podcast that I listened to called Shine Upon the World with Gwendolina. It's one of my favorite podcasts, and she was talking about pretty much how to take action. For example, we make plans. We could have our dream board, we could have our list of plans on what to do, our plans for our life, our plans for, how to go about each week and our posts and everything. But none of that is going to work and move us forward until we put those plans into action. So she had said, we are all going somewhere, even if we decide to do nothing different than we did today and just hope to stay right where we are. That won't happen. So we're all going somewhere. I mean, we have a future. We're all going to get to one point or another, whatever the case may be. But if we're in this moment and we think that we're just going to stay here because we're not making any plans or any actions to move forward, like that's not going to happen. We're still all going to get to a destination, but we're all going to get in different destinations based on what actions we take to get there and how we put our plans into actions. Choosing to do nothing still brings us somewhere, but it will be where we don't want to go. We are all moving in a direction towards a destination, so why not land where we want to go, right? Like, we have plans and goals for ourselves in this business, so, we may stay at the same rank, we may drop, we may gain, we may move forward, we may hit diamond, we may hit elite, or let's not say we may, we will, but we have to take those steps and actions to get there if we're going to get there, if we want to get there. And this spoke to me personally, so I felt like I had to type it all out and share it with you guys too. She said, but it starts with a plan of action. Not just a plan, but a plan of action. You can plan all you want, but until you take action, nothing is going to happen. So, that phrase, you lose what you don't use. She said, that actually originated from the Bible in Matthew. There is a man that didn't use what God gave him, and even that talent was taken away. And you know what? There was another guy, it was given to someone else who already had 10 talents of his own. But because he was diligently taking action and using what he had, God then added more to him. So you had a guy who had an awesome talent, but he wasn't using it. He wasn't being diligent in it. So, and then there's another guy who had 10 talents, but because he was diligent in using what he had, God gifted him with more. And that was, I don't ever remember that part of the Bible. So I was like, oh, that's pretty awesome. That was in Matthew 25. She said, don't live by excuses and just talk the talk. You have to walk the walk and put those actions into play. Well, hello. Yes, that's completely true, because we can sit here and hope that people are going to just, start messaging us every single day. Hey, what are you doing? I want to get on that. When that's not reality, that's not the case. We have to take the actions to reach out to people, to build those connections, to build that trust in those relationships. We have to post. We have to, do videos. We have to show our workouts. We have to be proof of the product. We have to take action in order for, this business to move forward, in order to, have God bless us with the abilities to reach others and help others. She said, when you look at successful people, they are faithful with the little that they have, and God gave them more. They take action a little each day. So you don't have to do, a whole book full of to-dos every single day. But if you take little steps every single day, reach out to a few people every single day, and do the work that it takes, then that's going to move your business forward, and that's going to reach people, and that's going to help people, and you're going to change people's lives in that. But if you sit back and expect people to come to you, well, that's not going to happen. There may be, on rare occasions, that will happen when someone says, hey, what are you doing? But for the majority of them, in my experience, that's not how it works. You have to work it. This business doesn't move forward on its own without you putting the work into it. So there she said, what are 2 actions you will do to move forward? Number 1, sit and write out where you see yourself. She said, so, go to a quiet place, no distractions, and think about it, and sit and write, where do you see yourself? Where do you want to take your life? Get all your dreams, get all your goals, be very crystal clear, and put those on paper. We have our dream boards. Like I have my screen on my computer is my dream board. I don't have a bulletin board or anything yet. But if you have a whiteboard, and if you have, your goals maybe printed out and put them so you can see them, put them on paper and be clear, be specific what you want out of this. In Habakkuk 2:2 in the Bible, it says, write the vision, make it plain upon tablets. So I love how she incorporates every day, your business and your faith and everything into one. Number 2 was draw a line under each of those things that you wrote. So each of those goals, draw a line under it, and then under the line, write the specific thing that you need to accomplish that goal. What changes do you need to make? What habits do you need to change or create? What attitude do you need to adjust? What time in your day do you need to have these things done? If you need to dedicate the time during the week to study, to do the trainings, to develop yourself, whatever you need to do to make those goals happen, write those under the line. So that way you have those visible to you. You know what it's going to take to get there, and so that you can move forward. So don't just make a plan, make a plan of action. So those are the 2 that I wanted to share with y'all. And I'm sorry you couldn't be on the live video today. I had to do a photo session, but I still wanted to get this out because I had written these notes and I had prepared for this. So I hope you got some takeaways from this. I hope it helped you, and I hope you ladies have a great night.